I lost my mom, I lost my eldest sister, and I lost my dad in a space of 48 hours. And we ended up burying my mom and my dad on the same day, and then my sister on the following day because of COVID. You know, I can't explain it, but really I felt like somehow I was going mad, because I said, could this be real? Am I in a nightmare? Am I in some horror movie? Am I going to wake up? Is it going to stop? But as the minutes started, you know, passing, started going, I thought, this is real. This is what has happened. I had an elder sister. She was living near my parents' place in Mkoba 2. Her name was Vimbai Musengi. So I remember one time she gave me a call and she was like, Millicent, I'll be going home. I think one of our nephew Kuda, he's got a very bad flu, and we're just suspecting that it could be COVID. So she went home and she started doing everything to just make Kuda feel better. So they both agreed that they needed to go and have a COVID test. So they went to Claybank, I remember, Claybank Hospital. It was the one which was offering those services in Guero. And then on a Friday, that was on a Friday morning, I remember around 12, she gave us a message. She just passed a message on our WhatsApp group. You know how it is in family group. And then she was like, guys, we both tested COVID. Mom and me, we've tested COVID, so we are going to self-isolate. I'll be self-isolating at my place in Mkoba 2, and then Mom will also be self-isolating in Mkoba 1. So it was just normal, and we all just had to like encourage them. You guys, you need to steam up. You need to do everything that was supposed to be done, and they'd also gotten the prescription for the COVID. So on Saturday, where we kept on doing, you know, like asking them, how are you guys doing? Are you taking enough water? Are you steaming up? Are you eating enough so that the medication works for them? And then on Sunday, I have a twin, by the way. Cindy had gone out with work. So she came back on a Sunday, and then she said, I need to go to Mkoba to check on both Mom and Vimbai. So when she went to Mkoba, she was like, I think I need to monitor these guys, because she's in the health department under the Air Force of Zimbabwe. So when she said I needed days from work, so she managed to just get 4 days. And then on Monday, Cindy had to call me, and she was like, Millie, when I got home, the state that Mom was in, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. It's more like she has deteriorated to a level that I couldn't even recognize. And she was like failing to speak, like I just didn't understand. So when she told me that, I had to call my mom. And I remember when I called her, when she answered me, she was like, yeah. You know, like something had, I don't know, like something was happening to a jail line or something. So I became very worried. And then I had to ask Cindy, so how is Vimbai? And then she also said, remember, Vimbai is asthmatic. She's also having difficulties. She's been trying to steam up and do a lot of things, but we are just hoping for the best. I think we need to keep on praying. And then I remember I had to check up again on Mom around 6 in the evening. And then around that time when I gave Mom a call, you know, she was failing to speak properly. But that was a cause for concern for both of us, myself and Cindy. Because I was so worried, and I was like, if Mom is failing to speak, what does that mean? You know, it's a very big sign for someone who hasn't been doing so well. So past midnight, Cindy calls me. I woke up in shock, because I was like, Cindy calling me this hour, and she's with Mom, and Mom wasn't doing so well. What could it be? I was expecting the worst by that time. And then she said, Millie, wake up Shamari, and let's pray. I think we need to take Mom to hospital, because she's saying that she's failing to breathe. All of a sudden, when I went to check on her before I went to bed, I found her sitting, and she was saying, I'm failing to breathe properly. So we tried everything, but she's failing to breathe properly. I think I need to have her oxygen levels, you know, boosted up. We need to go to the hospital. So by then they said we are getting a car from a friend so that they rush with her to the hospital. I was just so worried. I couldn't even sleep. So I kept on checking on WhatsApp. How is it? Did you guys get a car? So they got a car, yes. But when they got to the hospital, but before they got to the hospital, I remember Cindy narrating to me now, saying just before we go to the hospital, I felt like Mom was just passing, she was going. And then she said, Apapanga paipapa. That was my mom telling my sister. So Cindy was busy trying to fill in the forms, and I remember Vimbai's husband had accompanied them as well. So Bamkuru was also busy running around informing everyone on the WhatsApp platform. Chiera has been admitted. We want to thank God. I think she's doing well now. And then Cindy said, all of a sudden we saw the nurses doing CPR on mom, and that was just in a space of less than 40 seconds. And then the nurse had to just come to her and said, we are very sorry, but we have lost mom. Just like that. So when the message was conveyed on the family group, I was devastated. And I remember that time my daughter had come for holiday, and then I was like, she's only 11. I can't tell her, I can't cry, and it was just something else.
So the psychosocial issues that come then are, major issue is stress, not being able to cope, not being able to know how to handle. It's a new thing. Some even end up abusing alcohol, taking drugs. If they are those that are already probably been drinking already, it becomes excessive. Some may even become antisocial. Because you have no one to turn to, and you lock yourself in that cell whereby you're saying, who can hear me? Where can we go? The hospitals are also not fully equipped. Financial statuses are compromised. People are not understanding this what was it? This home-based care, we're not like well informed how to handle it.
So we proceeded to go home. And when I got home again, Baba was like, is Millie here? So he was sitting in his bedroom. He was sitting on the bed actually. So when I got into the bedroom, he was like, Millie, maiva kwa kuchina, 45 years, tiritese. And I was like, Baba, let's thank God for the years. We are all devastated by the passing of mom. The stigma, because once people get to know that there's a funeral, it was a COVID-related funeral, that brought about a lot of talk in the community. It brought about a lot of resentment from even the closest of relatives. There was just a lot of stigma within the community. And you know how it is, you know, our culture where when one passes, everyone is there, like people from church, relatives, just everyone, just to, you know, to give you emotional support. So I think that was the biggest challenge that we also faced. It was just closest relatives, people who were so daring to say, we are just going there. COVID or no COVID, we're just going to support. So I remember when Cindy gave me a call, she was like, Millie, wake up. My Nyasha is not doing so well. And I could hear the groanings in the background. She was more like, I don't know, but I felt like she was praying somehow. And then when they rushed her to the hospital, I was at home. Remember, I was at the funeral, trying to also support my dad. And I remember I woke up, I started pleading, praying, asking God, please intervene. And it was a whole lot of things. You'll be so confused. And I remember there were people at the funeral and they were just wondering, what is happening? What is happening? You know, people didn't know because I had gotten that call. And when they rushed her to the hospital, she says that when we got to the hospital, when we got to the bed, they were told that no, the oxygen had depleted. They needed to get another tank. And then my Bamkuru says, oh no, we have another tank in the car. Let me rush to get the tank in the car. The moment he is rushing to get the tank in the car, Vimbai is going. And she just passed, while my twin sister was there holding her in her hands. And I remember Cindy said, you know, it was so traumatic. It was, I can't explain it. Because when Cindy called me, she said, Milima Nyashavashaika, and I was like, what are you saying? Vimbai, Wandaona Maskati, how can you say that she has gone? And then she said, that's what I'm telling you, Mili, Vimbai is normal. And it was even a shocker to people that were at home who had gathered for mom's funeral, to be told that Vimbai has also passed just about the same time. And coincidentally, she passed in the same hospital on the same bed. It was a well-known someone. She was a journalist. So when news started spreading, it spread like a wildfire. I remember people started giving me calls because people knew me in the circles of civil society. They knew I had they knew me more than the other siblings because they'd seen us in different platforms and different forums with Vimbai. So everyone wanted to know, is it true? Is it true? Is what we are hearing true? And I remember, I don't know who got the news, because by the time it was dawn, the news was all over. It was on social media. Prominent journalist passes hours after mom succumbs to COVID. It was just a shocker. So, you know, I think people also don't even know what it means when such news is spread on social platforms, how it affects the people that are closest to people who would have gone, you know. So it was so devastating, because I remember when we were just looking at each other with CD and my eldest brother Tichatonga, we were all like, do people really know how it feels to lose people in less than 24 hours? You know, same case, COVID cases. So I just news. So now the danger was, how are we going to convey the message to my dad? That was another story, because we knew that the issue of my mom was a shocker to my dad already. And Vimbai being the closest to them was going to be something else. So we needed to protect my dad. And we said, we all just agreed that no, we are not going to convey this message. Let's just play it normal. Let's act like everything is well. And that was on Wednesday, right? So in the afternoon, I remember my uncle, my father's youngest brother, came, and he's the one who had to convey the message to my dad. I think that is when all hell broke loose. My dad couldn't even believe, because he had to ask again, which Vimbai are you talking about? Are you talking about my Vimbai? And then my uncle said, Vimbai when we. And then he said, oh, but we felt him just going then. That's when he just gave up. He just gave up. So it was, I know a lot of people would be asking, was Vimbai vaccinated? Were my parents vaccinated? Vimbai was vaccinated, yes. But for my parents, remember, they had underlying illnesses. So we were all just careful. But we just never thought that COVID was going to hit us in such a way. So when Dad heard about Vimbai, I think that's when he just gave up. Because it was just by that time, I think it was around 12 noon. But from there, the situation, the condition just started deteriorating from bad to worse. He was on oxygen, on, off, until to the extent that he said, can you please come and remove these things? I don't want this on me anymore. So I think people just managed to persuade him around 6 in the evening. And my twin sister said, we need to rush Baba to the hospital because his oxygen, I see his fingers are turning. They've got this discoloring, meaning to say that his oxygen levels is being deprived of oxygen. We need to rush him to the hospital. So he agreed, I think, around 6 in the evening. So my cousin had to rush with him to the hospital. But unfortunately, just before Bata, that's when he also passed. So we ended up losing 3 members of the same family on the 10th and 11th of August to COVID-19. It hasn't been easy, because I remember when the message was conveyed again on the family group, even people that were there, they failed even to contain me, because I couldn't even understand what was happening. Because I said, Baba was just sitting on the sofa. How can you say he just died? 10 minutes later, he's dead. What are you guys saying? But that was reality. That is what had happened to us. So for me, it broke me, really. It broke me. But I remember, even when I was just sitting, when reality just hit me, I would be like, Sakavato Favari 3, and that would just break me. So that would just break me. And I know a lot of people, they are a bit skeptical on getting the jab. I know it's an individual decision, but at times, it's better for you to have protection than not having any at all. When you go out there, try by all means to mask up. Try by all means to sanitize. Try by all means to, social distancing. And try by all means to get vaccinated for yourself, for your children, and for your neighbors, for your loved ones. It will help you, because we just don't know. Remember when I spoke about the episode of my sister, when they go to the hospital, Apparently the oxygen, they say that it had depleted. There was no oxygen. They had to rush elsewhere to get the oxygen tank. So I feel that there was a gap there, though I'm not really blaming them. But I would also recommend to our government to really prioritize the healthcare system, because I believe that a lot of people died prematurely because our healthcare systems are not really, on point in terms of having enough equipment, enough motivated staff to be looking after such cases. So when my mom and my sister tested positive, I think my nephew, he was a bit traumatized because he felt like he's the one who had brought the COVID back at home. So in a way, his mental state was not well. Because everybody was like, you brought the COVID at home. You are at fault. I really think that when such things happen, there's need for people to be really careful about what they say. Remember, no one really wishes for someone to die, especially a loved one to die in such a way.
Normally, we may tend to blame, especially the person who would have brought the COVID-19 into the family, but also not forgetting that even that individual anotorine a mental issue yekuti I have probably caused the death of a father, of a mother and a sister, which may be something that may affect that individual mentally to an extent yekuti it becomes a trauma for that person that he or she would have to live with it for the rest of his or her own life if there is no proper counseling that would have been given or psychotherapy that would have been given to that individual.
So I want to advise and also recommend communities to really take time to understand when there's a global crisis, a global issue like the COVID-19 pandemic, there's need to do a lot of research and understand what it means. I've seen people walking around in town without masks, and I've seen a lot of mask fatigue that is happening as we speak now. But even if you were to look at global news, CNN, etc., there are different, it's more like the COVID-19 is not really gone. It's there. And there are cases that we are hearing from China, everywhere, where people are now dying again of the COVID-19 pandemic. So I think as a community and even as a country, let's try by all means to be wise. Let's try by all means to take the necessary precautions, the necessary measurements to protect ourselves, to protect our children, to protect the communities against the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, as social workers, we really face challenges whereby even a patient can even refuse to take medical way to deal with the pandemic. Some prefer going to church. Yes, it's not a bad thing, but sometimes you need to pray and also get medical help as quick as possible.